morning, everybody, and welcome back to my third video. Today we're going to start talking about feed sacks, flour sacks, fertilizer bags. By about 1890, manufacturers had stopped putting feed, flour, sugar, all those things. They stopped putting them in barrels and stopped putting them in cloth bags. And the first bags, cloth bags, were cotton or muslin, and they usually had a logo on them of the company. And so women, seeing opportunity, began using those bags, mainly because they were plain and not printed yet, as underwear. Or they used them like in quilting, bedding, pillowcases. So that started about 1890. Then about 1914 to 1929, the the selling price of cotton dropped drastically. And it was about that time that they started making printed flour sacks. Got one here. Now, the first ones weren't like this pretty, I don't think. I think they were rather plain, probably more solid colors than printed. But as the price of cotton dropped, the more they used the flour sack bags. For feed, fertilizer, sugar, flour, those type things. And so when the manufacturers noticed that the women were buying lots and lots and lots of these bags, they saw a marketing opportunity. And so the race was on to see who could create the most elaborate and popular printed patterns. So that's kind of how that all evolved, how we got the flour sacks. So they were being printed before the Great Depression began. And once they became printed, then they became useful for household items, tea towels, dish towels, even dresses, for children. And of course the scraps were saved for quilts. And behind me you'll see a sweet little this is probably made between the 30s and the 40s. Printed flour sacks didn't go out of popularity until well after the Depression. Women continued to use them to sew quilts and other household. Okay, so there's a very, very interesting article on a website called womenfolk.com. And you can go there and read more of the history of feed sacks and flour sacks. By the 1950s, paper bags became much less costly to put items and things in. So there was a switch then to the paper bags. Feed, now when we buy feed for our animals, it's in, heavy-duty wax-lined paper bags. But this article did state that printed feed sacks were made as late as 1960. So that's kind of like interesting. I've got like a few, there's about 50 here, varying patterns that I want to show y'all. A sweet little lady offered me these. She said, maybe you would like to use these, or you could use these in your quilt restoration. I haven't mentioned that yet, but I do, probably only one quilt a year I will restore for, another person. I just don't have enough time to just sit and sew all day. But I do love to do quilt restorations. I can do quilt restorations for quilts from 1800 all the way to present time. It was interesting to note that I think the article said about 1940 was when rayon was introduced, and there were even some feed sacks made with these combinations. But they printed florals, patterns, pastels. They printed patterns suitable for men's shirts, plaids usually, and even border prints so that you could use them for pillowcases and things like that. I'm sure you girls have seen old pillowcases made from feed sacks. They're really pretty. This one right here I want to show you. I found recently. It's the entire, I'm like pulling it forward. See, there's the sewn bottom, and then the top is open right here. Now this is the entire feed sack. The stitching has been taken out of the top, but it's all still sewn together and intact. So there's probably at least 1.5 yards, maybe 1 3/4 yards here. I found this at an antique store, and it said vintage pillowcase, $5. So I was like, yes, please, I want that. And it's a sweet little pastel morning glory print. So I'm going to like turn the camera around and show you this table of these really pretty prints that I got. Hold on, I'll try not to make you guys dizzy. So you can see here that there's just all types of prints and patterns. Okay, I've turned you around here now so that you can see this table of the flour sack pieces that I was given. There's just all sorts of florals. This is a very busy kind of paisley floral. This one's really cute. Oops. It's a Hawaiian. Whoops, it's like stuck to that one. It's a Hawaiian print. Isn't that cute? Definitely 50s. And we have a chartreuse and pink, purple, and green. I think this is actually a piece of fabric from the 40s or 50s here. It kind of got mixed in. But as you can see, there's just all manner of prints. Now some of these have been cut into quilt squares already for a project. Maybe they were left over, they didn't make it into the quilt, or the quilt never got started. She was like me. She had all these projects that she started and didn't finish. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there that does that. This one is really cute. This would have been really cute for like child's clothing. It's like a circus print. It's got the little drummer and the circus tents, the Ferris wheel. That's sweet. I don't come across a lot of juvenile prints, but when I do, I really like them. That one is like kind of a green and floral. This one's red with like little 4-leaf clovers, 3-leaf clovers. A red dot. Now this red polka dot and this children's like little print block, I would like to do something with. Haven't decided what yet. So there's just all manner of prints and designs. But there was about, like I said, about 50 different patterns here. And I was so excited to get these. And then there again is the full size sack. So then I wanted to show you, let's like move these over to the side. This, also in that lot of feed sacks was this purple, and try not to make you guys too dizzy. These little purple flowers, and then it has like a little purple dot in the background and little green leaves. Now this is actually like yardage, and I would say this dates to the 20s and 30s. And so there was like two good sized pieces. And so I'm going to use this fabric when we start our apron project here really soon. Okay, this was another piece in that lot of flower sacks that I got. It's like a super large piece of yardage. And so it's like a little pink ribbon daisy print. And again, there's probably a yard and a half to a yard and a quarter. So I was really excited to get this one and this one. But I think I'm gonna use this one to do the apron project that we're gonna do together. And that video is coming up. Okay, before I end this video, I do want to talk a minute about the quilt behind me. This was actually a gift, and my brother found this at the Nashville Flea Market and gave it to me for Christmas. So I was really excited to get that. It's a lot better than like, you know, a pair of socks or even a Starbucks gift card, as much as I love Starbucks. So this quilt behind me was made entirely of feed sacks. And it's just a really, really simple pattern. I'm going to move the camera a little closer and try not to make you guys dizzy. What she did here is it's just one patch blocks. And so there are 16 blocks, 16 squares sewn together to make one block here. Then she did her sashing, and so she used a strip of the green and then a square of the pink. This is solid, and then a square of the green. And so she did that to make her sashing. The sashing is the fabric border between the blocks, right? Do you see that? The sashing is between the blocks. So this wasn't like a really complicated quilt at all to make, but it's still time consuming. I mean, you still have to like cut the squares, sew the squares together, and they were sewn by hand. There is like a little hole up at the top that I'm going to have to fix, but it allowed me to peek inside and see if the quilt was handmade, and it was. Not stitched by machine, but handmade. So, and then it has to be quilted. Now she quilted this just in a straight line, and the lines are approximately, oh, what is that? 2 1/4 inches apart. So there are, let me just show you this real fast. This is an older fabric, maybe that she had like in her stash, or her mother had in her stash, this little red gingham. So she just added that. There's hardly any red in the quilt, but she chose this red gingham for the backing. And then the selvage, she just turned the finished binding, she just turned the fabric from the back over to the front and stitched it by machine. And you can see right down there it's got like a little boo-boo. It's got to be fixed. In my collection, I have some more of that red gingham, so I'll be able to match that up and fix that little boo-boo eventually. But I'm just going to scan these quilt squares for you. Try to carefully and smoothly. I would say that these feed sacks all date to the 20s and 30s. There may be some in here that are a little bit later. But you see the solid colors? When you see the solid feed sacks, remember I told you these are the first ones that came out with these solids. I mean, they continue to make solids throughout the years, the 20s and 30s and 40s. But I think some of these are really, really pretty. I especially like this block with the little calico print and the tiny, tiny red checks. Okay, I did want to talk a minute about the plain feed sacks that we find that have labels on them. Some of the labels are really, really cute. They have chickens and plows and different brands. They would even have different labels. I love the ones with printed labels. Love, love, love if you can find them. But what I want to talk about was like really, really cute is when, before they had the printed feed sacks, they just had the muslin feed sacks with the labels on them. And so they didn't want those labels on their underwear or their quilts. So it's like how to get those like darn labels off. And I don't know exactly when chlorine, I didn't look that up, when chlorine bleach came out. But I read that at first they would like soak them in kerosene and then they would scrub the labels with unsalted lard. And then that they would use Fell's naphtha soap to try to scrub the labels off. And then eventually they had chlorine bleach and they would like bleach them. But I know some of you have seen quilts that just have a muslin backing and you can faintly see the advertising on the feed sack bag. And I love those. I mean, I wish they had left all of the labels on the backings of the muslin, but they didn't. At that time, they wanted to remove them because they wanted their cloth to, you know, have more of a clean, new look. But I think those are just like really cool if you could find them. Also, I've even found children's underwear with the labels still on them. Faintly, but you can like still see them. So anyways, very, very soon we're going to get into our apron making video. So I hope that you will continue to like stop by and see what I'm talking about and what we're working on together. I would love it, love it, love it if you would like leave me comments at the end of my videos. I'd like to hear from you. If you on the video page where you watch the video, if you'll scroll all the way to the bottom, it says comments, and you can like type a comment there. I also wanted to tell you that some people have asked me, does it cost money to subscribe to YouTube videos? And no, it does not cost money to subscribe to videos. And if you subscribe, then you will get an email notifying you that I have uploaded a new video. And that email link will take you right over to the video. Because my videos are new, if you just type in primitive Tennessee chick, it may not like take you right to the video. It may take you to like some other chicken video. So I would love your comments. Also, you can contact me at bobbette.griffin@gmail, bobbette.griffin@gmail.com. I would love to hear your like comments and suggestions and any topics that you would like to discuss. So again, I want to thank you for watching my videos. And if you will, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. And I will see you really soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.